Hello, everybody. It's me, Chris. We're back in the old fish factory here. Making some of the pictures. You know what I'm talking about. Yep. All right, enough of this. Hi, everybody. How you doing? We got the old announcement up on the screen there. If you have a one-pitch comic idea, you can put in 1 or 2 sentences, put it here in the chat or in the comment section below the video. Is that fast enough? I could have made it faster. Hi, everybody. I'm back in the studio. I had a good time on my little trip last weekend. I did a video. I don't know if it's come up on YouTube because I don't really check up what I've done on YouTube, but which maybe I should. It's about how I talked towards the city of Toronto and taking in the sights and that sort of feeling of how it can inspire. I also talked about some of the supplies that I'd picked up, so hopefully you had a chance to catch that. Some people did, anyways. But I don't know. It was a good time. I got a lot of stuff done miraculously over the course of said weekend. It's funny. It was more like a drawing stuff on a clipboard while I was touring around on the train, etc., rather than it was sitting down formally and doing constructive work like that. Because when I really did get a chance to sit down formally, it was really more of a getting myself organized or going over what sort of stuff I was gathering up, right? So it was a lot of fun. But if you didn't get a chance to see that video, I can try to find it. And if it didn't post for whatever reason, I could show you some of the junk. Hey, we got people here and I'm not paying attention. Look, we got Jim. Hi, Jim. Grace. Hi, Jim. Didi. Hi, Didi. Great stream this morning, Didi. I really enjoyed it. It was super fun. I was listening while I was working, trying to get some of the stuff done and put together because even when we got back from our little excitement escape weekend to Toronto, Sunday was a hopping day, right? You do get your stuff all caught back up in your routine, and then we went to the circus. True story. It was super cool. I haven't been to the circus since I was a kid. Day. And Yvonne says, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Hello from the Forest City. Oh my goodness, are you here? Are you in London? London, Ontario, Canada? Isn't that how we pronounce it? If you are, welcome. Hey, how are you doing? Okay, so anyways, on the trip last week, I got a bunch of cool stuff that I'm incorporating into what I do. I got a bunch of these Winsor Newton markers with various degrees of proficiency with those things. There's bludgeon tips. There's sort of smashed points on them, and at the same time, there is still they're still accessible to take the ink column out of the center, and so I'm still able to make marks with it. I'm working right now. I'm doing a doodle right now with one of them that is I think it's going pretty okay. I'm finishing off the last of the pages, and so I've done all this scribbling. Hold on, light. I've done all the scribbling in the marker, and so now I'm just coming in and cutting out all kinds of lines with a ballpoint and finding the structure of caveman face, and building that up as I go. But I'm pleased with those. So I'll go through some of the junk that we've been doing. This page is Barry's Bad Soup Situation. This is the one I posted for today. I've got 5. I got 4 done already and a 5th one to post. I posted 2 now, and I didn't just want to kind of post them all at once. And that, because some people do like just sort of taking it easy on them and posting a thing at a time, because I'm already posts as much as I do. So badgering them with multiple pages at once is overwhelming. That's what I've been told. I find some people find it pretty overwhelming that I'm posting a page a day. Big sigh. Okay. Today's page, Barry's Bad Soup Situation, was drawn in China. China markers. Now, that's a China marker, right? The little piece of string on it. You pull the string down and it serrates the paper. And then you wheel the pre-serrated paper around the pencil, and it reveals more of the marker part inside. So exciting. It's the stuff that they use to write on ceramic work, sign ceramic work, etc. And it holds up through the process. So I've got a number of colors in this, and that's what, although I didn't really use the black, that's what the page here that you see on the screen was drawn in, was in these 5 of the 6 bad boys. And then I picked up a couple of Poscas, so little touch-ups in there. I picked up a Posca brush tip, right? Which I not impressed by. So if you like those, if you like trying new different things and you like Posca, give it a try. But I don't know that it's necessarily the most exciting brush pen I've ever bought. But it's a white one too, right? So who knows? Mixed results. Hi, Riri. Welcome aboard. So that's the first page in my typical ridiculousness. Let's see what else. The page I posted before that, it's got 2 thumbs in a thumbless world, huh? That's a suggestion from, I think it was Josh Kemble. This guy, what a jerk. Anyways, this was drawn on, hold on, I'll get the originals. Pulling them out of the pile. Chris moves back across the room. He's still sitting. Pulls up the paper. So this is, let's switch the Kambarivsky here. All right, so these are on cards. I'll show you the cards. So that's these suckers, these green playing cards that I have, right? And so what I've done is I've primed a bunch of them in yeller, done some stamping on them. This was ballpoint with some pink paint pen, paint marker, some watercolor thrown in, white pen, black pen, doo-dah, right? So each of these pieces on here is a different playing card that's taped down. So the pieces that overlap, are 2 separate cards and a gap in between. So that's how I put that page together, and got some fun textures in here. I really was having fun with. So this was a fun one, but the end result of that was it's got 2 thumbs in a thumbless world. It's a different approach. Well, that's very nice. Thanks, Riri. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. They won't make any sense though if I take them off the page. So, the other. So that was the first page. This is the second page. Tomorrow tomorrow I'm just going to continue on with whatever page I finished today. But by this weekend, I will let you see. It's all just junk. Yeah. This is the suggestion for this page. Oh, I'm sorry. The suggestion for Barry's Bad Soup Situation, I can't remember who suggested that. If it was Riri or Rachel or I'm not sure who that suggested. And if it was you, please let me know, and I'll give you credit where credit's due here. But it was a fun idea about soup that has a taste that wasn't expected. So that's what this page was. Barry's Bad Soup Situation. Poor Barry crying at the end. And the suggestion for this one is we finally find an alien civilization. And it's all just leftover junk, right? So there's page 1. There's page 2. Lots and lot of fun. It's a conversational page, again. And then the page I'm just finishing off now, again, is on the cardstock. I did these on cardstock, and one of them is actually the lino cut image that I printed all those cards from of different simian persons. Humans is the page, and so the page that I'm scribbling on today is going to be laid out over top of these 5 characters of a Neanderthal man, and it's going to be typical Christopher pontification of nonsense. So the other things from this week were, let me see if I've got, this is the other original stuff from this. There was the page with action, movement, and then there was the thriller horror page that I did. That's pencil and blue pencil and a blue pen and white couple of white spots of ink there. And then the pencil crayon page about the haunted dollhouse, which is getting close to me doing haunted bow tie. And then this is the original pages for the It's All Junk. So just a bunch of different approaches and materials thrown in there. Some ink, some paint, some blue and green pencil, black pen, some markers. You know what? I just stuffs and stuffs. And then there's more different jazz and making lots of mess, lots of shapes. So that's some of the stuff I was doing on a train. Picked up some cool books that I showed on the stream that I did in out of my hotel room last week. I think it was on Thursday. And yeah, so it's been busy. Hey, look out, everybody. Chris, I have an artist suggestion for you to check out. Fellow Canadian Joe Ullman. Joe Ullman sounds familiar. Joe Ullman. And been a huge fan of his for years, and now kind of know him. Chewing on tinfoil, science fiction, This Will All End in Tears. I think This Will All End in Tears is what I'm familiar with. I'll have to look that up. But Chewing on Tinfoil is a great name. And just the suggestion of that name makes your teeth hurt. Even if you don't have teeth, if you ever chewed on tinfoil, you know what I'm talking about. You regret that decision. Yeah, I'm going to check this out, Jim. Thanks for the recommendation. Joe Ullman. Anybody else that's might be here? Try Joe Ullman out. Thanks for the suggestion, Jim. It's usually if there's people that you know that have somebody that like, and you have an understanding of their work and a like of their work, oftentimes when people reference somebody else's stuff and say, I like this, maybe you like this, give it a shot. You never know what you're going to come across. Like, there's so much fun work out there. I was really pleased to hear that I suggested Dave Latham last week, and Jim, who's suggesting as Joe Ullman, checked it out and has been enjoying it. So very happy to hear that, because, you know, you don't suggest things to sort of lead your friends and people astray. It's you know, it's something you say, I think you'll enjoy. So ideally, that's why you're referencing people things, is so that they legitimately might enjoy it. You know, I would hope so. Yeah, speaking of enjoyment, segue. Speaking of enjoyment, I'm enjoying a few minutes of Corbin being upstairs sleeping in Mari's office. So that's exciting for me. The simple things, right? Also, I wanted to talk about something that was sort of on my mind. Because while away, because of the hectic chaos and confusion of traveling, you get an opportunity to spend a moment and try to engage in some things that you're not regularly engaging in. And so one of the things that Jim says he loves stray bullets. I'm so glad you do. I wish I could send you the omnibus with the first 40 some odd issues. Dee Dee, Studio Cats. Yeah, Studio Cats. Dee Dee's got two white Persians that climb up on her desk while she's working all the time. Anyways, what I was referring to was the idea of celebrating and enjoying what you're doing or what you've done. That I came across a couple instances where I think we have a natural tendency, a lot of us anyways, as creators, to denigrate our own work and to diminish a lot of times what it is that we do, or to pigeonhole ourselves as well. Like, well, I just do this. Or, and I know I'm very guilty of this kind of thing because it's whether it's or not I take myself too seriously or I don't take myself too seriously. In my case, in all honesty, I'm never really sure how to describe what it is that I do, other than I write and I draw storybooks. That's as close as I come to it. And because saying, and I find this in a larger, more broad community out there in the old world, that if I say I draw comic books, people go, oh, okay, right? And there's those assumptions that can happen at times. Or if I say, I'm an illustrator, oh, okay, well, I got a story for you, and that's the last thing I want. Or, there's just different ways that people respond to how you evaluate your creative process. And if you look at your creative process and if you express it from, this is what I done, right? If you look at it from that, no, here's what I do, or, yeah, so, I'm still working. And every time they look at anything that you're doing, and your first thing is, well, I'm going to try to draw that better sometime. It's not. And rather than giving them the opportunity to take a peek at what you're doing and sort of making their own judgment or assessment based on, how they appreciate what you're doing, their own aesthetic evaluation or assessment, that is, you're not giving them a chance. And more conversely, I don't think that we give ourselves the chance, because for all we know, that person could then look at us and say, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Maybe not, but it won't happen for sure if the moment that somebody looks at something, we say, yeah, but, because truth be told, we don't know where they are, where they're coming from, and how they look at whatever it is that we're showing them, and how they might look at that work in a far different way. It's kind of like, I was thinking about this a lot while walking through the many streets of downtown Toronto on my way to art store and bookstore, is that it's a huge thing that we do. And I recognize that in myself, and I apologize if I've behaved that way and done that to people, but I started paying attention to it more and more as I gave myself the moment to reflect. And when you're in a situation outside the norm, that's when those moments kick up that make you sit down and take stock of a couple things for a moment. And so I was just thinking about that a lot, and how do we go about, okay, on a couple of bases. Now, is there celebrating ourselves in this regard, or is it just appreciating yourself and giving yourself a second to look at what work you're doing and to recognize that nobody else is going to do what you're doing, even if it's people that do use the same material, they're in the same media, they're in the same genre, whatever it is, they're still not doing what you do. That's your jam. There's a whole bunch of different ingredients that makes up your soup that other people, cannot do, because there's so much in the process of putting together who you are, not just as a person, but as a creative person that isn't readily replicatable, isn't readily able to be replicated. Sounds better. Just because they're not going to go through the same peccadillos you are. And there's a lot to that. I think that should, those sort of allowing ourselves to be, I don't know if that's how that's coming across there, but that's working out. Anyways, needs more color. So I think that those moments about giving oneself the opportunity to just present the work and then have them read it on their own time is or view it on their own time, or physically engage with whatever it is, whatever the output is. Listen to it, you know what I mean? It's creative endeavors, right? I think that the more that we're able to give our audience that, away from all of our neuroses, at the very least, away from, the concerns and insecurities that we ourselves have about sharing, because we all do. No doubt about it, everybody does. But I think that the more that we think about just letting things stand as they are and letting people make their own assessment, we might be surprised that they're going to look at what we're doing and feel far more connected to it than if we're to disconnect them to it by saying, let me point out to you all the problems and all the things that I need to improve and fix. If that makes sense. We've got here. Oh, thanks, Dee Dee. Dee Dee's clapping there. Hello, everyone. Hello, Gary Hodges. I hope, Gary, you had a good weekend at your Phoenix Con. I think you're at Phoenix Con this weekend. Driving all the kids in Comic Pool crazy. So, back to the old jibber jabber. So what I'm saying is that I hope that in your creative endeavors and your creative outputs, you have a way to just put them there and then hands off, right? And what I mean by hands off is just put them there and give it a moment before you, if you want to put something in the dialogue below it in the text box that no one really reads. Because I've said some absolutely ridiculous things in mine, and I've never heard a word back about them. Or I'll pontificate about the most nonsensical random thing that's completely disconnected with whatever I've just posted. And I've never heard anything back from those. Not directly, anyways. No one's ever said anything directly to that. So I truly believe that nobody reads whatever I write below the videos and below posts. So if you want to put something in there about I was trying to draw this, but my hands were tied behind my back, whatever it is, feel free to do so. But bearing in mind, people might not read that, and at the same time, it probably doesn't matter, and they probably don't care. They just want to look at picture and get on with their thing, because that's kind of what they do. So I don't see any problem with that, but I do see a problem with recognize how wonderful you are. Recognize how interesting the thing that you're doing is, and just put it out there. Because that's why you're doing it, or else you wouldn't be putting it out there. If somebody looks at you and denigrates what you do and says, "Listen, let me tell you how to get better. You're not very good," turn that person off, right? Because they're not. This has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their self, and they're, using you to make themselves feel better about something or other, or just their whole kick is about getting a sense of feeling superior to other people, and I'm far more informed than you are, blah, blah, blah. That's not cool. Who cares? Go away. There's a natural tendency where you meet people that do the same sort of thing that you do in a social situation, And there's always that sort of thing that we do ourselves internally, creatively, about in looking at something and assessing it in relation to the same sort of thing we do. But it's another thing entirely when well, this is great, but I myself, as a dentist, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the person that doesn't have a frame of reference and just tries to relate it to the world. That's actually handy. You want that as a creative who's outputting for somebody to look at and try to rationally grasp how it fits into their perspective on life through dentistry, right? I'm talking about the person that looks at your work and immediately tries to cover it up with their work, right? Good. All right, we got some fun stuff going on. Let me find out. Okay. Hello, everyone. Everybody saying hi to Gary. Okay, how did the con go, Gary? It went well. Sold a big pile of books, but the quote Lethal Weapon, I'm getting too old for this. You're dropping some Danny Glover on this business. Or is that Danny or Donald? Is that Donald Glover? It's one of them. Yeah, cons are different, aren't they? They get a little bit different. And then Dee Dee's asking as well how the con was. Jim's giving a little clap about the selling of books. That's good news. Yeah, I'm not surprised he sold a bunch of books. It's amazing. Those books are great. Lori's enjoying them, right? And that's an exciting thing. We've got a bunch of mailers over here that I'm sending out this evening to a number of people, and I really appreciate. Lori and I had the opportunity to sit down and read our physical copies of Gary's book, and anybody that picks those up will not be disappointed, because I don't like dinosaurs or Mars bots. I don't care. That's not that's not really what those books are. If you're looking for I want a dinosaur shoot 'em game, or I want some preconceived thing that you've already watched of dinosaurs, that's not what you're going to get. You're going to get something wonderful and unique and character studies, and that just happens to fit into a contextual world. So try them out. That's great. She liked them. Oh, that's good. Yeah, she's really enjoying them, and there's a review coming up. So yeah, Gary, if you want to put a link about where people can find your books, that'd be super. I've been away, and so I've missed some stuff. So I'm glad to be touching back with people. I think that I know Dee Dee does her streams Monday mornings, Wednesday mornings, and Gary usually does his on Saturdays. And Jim Lujan, who's here, does his streams. I think it's every couple weeks, I think, on a Sunday. They're called Hey Man, How's Your Movie Going? And he talks about the process of making an animated film. So anybody that might tune in that has interest in that, there you go. Go check that out. If everybody else has got stuff that they're doing, Yvonne, and Riri, if you've got some streams that you're doing and stuff you want to let people know, please feel free to do so here. There's oh my goodness, it's trouble. Hey everybody, it's Rachel. Hi Rachel. Okay, so this morning I was watching Dee Dee Willingham's stream, minding my own business, just like a well-behaved young man ish, and then Dee Dee showed me that Rachel did a drawing of me. What? It was awesome. I really enjoyed that, Rachel. I need to know where I can see that. That was fantastic. It really looks like me. If you're not comfortable with what you look like, don't put your face out there in the world, because people might look at that face and go, I'm gonna do something with that. She did an awesome job of it. So I think she's captured my jibber jabbering in there, and it looks really good. What am I missing? Wasn't the drawing Rachel did? You awesome. Oh, it was awesome. It really was. I really enjoyed it. You're getting all Siri typoed, aren't you? Yeah, I really appreciate it. It was really cool and really flattering for that, because look at this, yeah, I like that kind of thing. I like where we take a moment and we do images of each other, which is why I'm always like, if you want to be in a page, source me an image of you, and look out. you're going in a page. There's a lot of fun to that. There's a lot of something interesting to being able to. It's a form. I would think it's a form of endearment, right? When you take people that you know and you want to put them in projects, unless it's like that guy's a real jerk, and I'm going to put him in there doing something dumb. Or I'm going to put my ex in there and get blowed up in the car. Whatever. Whatever works for people, right? But I tend to find that it's always meant just an endearment when people incorporate others into. I had to let this dry for a minute. That's why I was sort of waiting for getting back to scribbling. I always find that a form of endearment when people incorporate others that they know into stuff. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, to be honest with you, this started as William Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is a caveman, and we're still there. I think I'm still making Willem Dafoe a caveman, but I don't know which. It's not a successful Willem Dafoe portrait, but it's also not a successful caveman yet right now. Most images you'll see of Willem Dafoe will be like crazy, creepy face. And if you ever get the chance to look at Shadow of the Vampire, the film, it's got John Malkovich as F.W. Murnau, the guy that made Nosferatu. And it's got Willem Dafoe starring as Max Grech, I think it is, who is the actor that portrayed Nosferatu. But the supposition and the idea is that Max Grech was a pseudonym for the actual vampire Count Orlok that Murnau found, and it allowed him to live forever by capturing him in film. John Malkovich as a movie director. It's got Udo Kier in it. It's got Carrie Elwes is in it. It's got Eddie Izzard in it. It is the weirdest cast you've ever seen. So, here we go. Gary says Shadow of the Vampire is great. It's possibly one of my favorite vampire movies, and it's a weird one, but it's fantastic. Hey, it's Joshua Kimball, everybody, the Kimbalator. I did your 2 thumbs page over the course of the week here. Rachel says, first pantless Paul. Now that was terms of endearment. Rachel's been doing these alphabet pages, and I think it's one of those that you got pantless Paul in. I hope you put it in the P page for alliteration reasons. Where am I? I'm trying to keep up. Gary says, yes, and the director passes a vampire off his very method. Yeah, not that he's an actual vampire. It's that or Max Grech's method, but nobody's ever heard of him before. It's fantastic. I'm just saying hi. Gary says, I believe Malkovich said he patterned his voice after Herzog. That might have made my day. That really might have made my day today. John Malkovich doing an impression of Werner Herzog. This is a glee moment for me. Josh says it was a great page. Oh, I'm glad you like it. 2 thumbs? Anyways. Josh saying hi to Rachel. Jim says, what are the fans of Christopher Runciman called? The sufferers? I don't know. Oh, Jim has put forth Runson Minions. I have a friend that whenever I would show up at things with my family, we used to run into him. We did a tour of a submarine in Port Franks in Ontario here, and we ran into him there. He's one of the guys that oversees the Railroad Museum in St. Thomas. We ran into him there, and every time he would see me coming up with the 4 younger kids, he'd always call us Runson Nation. But Runson Minions, I don't know. Nobody's my minions. Runcie is something that actually my wife and I have both been called. So my wife gets called Runcie by a coworker, and I've been called Runcie a number of times. Rachel says now she has to draw a Runciman. But whatever, I don't know, whatever people, just people that tune into Christopher's stream, is that too wordy? Jim says that my sixth grade teacher called me Jimmy James. Oh, that's fantastic, because that's Rachel's name for you. Oh, that's so good. I don't know. I don't have any ideas about. There's a thing about Josh on Josh Campbell's site is that I think it's the Kremlin. I think is what Josh is calling people that tune in on his stream. He's calling them the Kreml, or the Kremlin. What is it, Josh? Let us know if you're still here. By the way, it's funny. I've never thought about that sort of thing. I just how about appreciated? They appreciated tuning in on this stream. I very much appreciate you tuning in. Oh, wah, wah. Chris is happy. Yeah. Surprise. Okay, surprise. All right, so this is let's see what we can do in here with some of this, with this China marker, because it gives us sort of nice gritty texture. I don't know if that's coming out or not. Josh calls them the Kremlin, because Josh is the Kremlinator. Or it's because Josh was a guest at a thing and they spelled his name wrong, which is typical for the thing. But you know, it's still a nice thing to be a guest at the thing, but he spelled his name wrong, which is not great. Fans of my animation are called felons. the Runcibles. The Runtles, like the Ruddles. Runcibles. Those are fun. It sounds like a lunch snack for children. It sounds like Lunchables. Yeah, I've actually never ever thought about what does it have to be a thing? What are people that stream in on Dee Dee's thing? What are they called? Are they called anything? Do they need to be called anything? Chris is neurotic. Runcies. Diddy's putting in for Runcies. The fibs. That's what you guys are, the fibs? All right. That's fun. What is the fibs in reference to? In the box. Oh, friends in the box. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I like that. But I learned from a major spokesperson in Canada here that no one talks to the boy in the box. Any Canadians out there? Back me up on this? Huh? Huh? Welcome to the stream, to all of my Rasputins, or Runciputins that are out there in the Runceputin land. That's fantastic, Runciputins. Friends in the bigs, friends in the box. Fibs, it's just easier. Runciputins, oh my goodness. That's dangerous. I'm going to start attacking countries. All right, so some of the sort of grainy texture and the smudgy texture that you get from using the China markers is, I like it. It sort of diffuses the tone. You know, it works. It does feel more like a highlight than just an opaque white going down. Oh, what do we got? Rachel says, CR just sent a study of the Runciminian to Dee. Runciputians, yeah, because I'm so tall. It works like Lilliputian. That's great. Anyways, question of the day, number 307. Which band has the best and most loyal fan base? You don't have to. I personally like the music. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a fun one. What's the best and most loyal fan base that you know of? It's a tricky one. I got a bad answer. But I'm going to let everybody jump in. That's a terrible answer. It's going to be an answer. It's going to be somebody's going to go, "Come on, Chris. Come on." Right? All right. So this is just me scribbling this old page. Let's get going on a new. Oh, stars. Let's get going on a new one page. Gary has put in for the Grateful Dead, which is that's a pretty good hat to throw in a ring. For full show. Where's the book? We're looking for the book. One of the fun things that I got last week, in case anybody missed the Thursday stream, is I picked this sucker up. It's called Facial Expressions. And this is phenomenal. It's all faces and little different images for each person. But yeah, this is possibly one of the coolest. I mean, don't pay attention to the images that they've drawn from those until you're looking at the book and you want to take a moment. But what's really compelling is just the sheer wealth and spread of expressions and faces. And some of that art's terrible. I think that's kind of a gift to be able to have that stuff. Okay, what do we got? Let's get back to this. It's got to be Grateful Dead, is what Gary's putting forward. And Jim says Grateful Dead or Neil Diamond. Jim Luhan says Fish. Fish is where all the Grateful Dead went when the Grateful Dead stopped touring. Earth, Wind, and Fire? Earth, Wind, and Fire. A fan base we're looking for here. Queen. Queen is an interesting one, Yvonne. That's a really interesting one, and I'll tell you why in a second, because I was actually going to say Queen, but probably not for the best of reasons. I think Norm Macdonald might have made the joke when Jerry Garcia died that now deadheads around the world will have to go back to their original lives as homeless people. That is such a Norm Macdonald joke. I have that same facial expression book. Lean on it hard for DVSM. Do you really? Fantastic. Good for you. Deadheads would probably be a number one. Yeah. Jimmy James, your band, we're still around waiting for the comeback tour. Yeah, we are. We're waiting. It would have to be the Grateful Dead. They kind of set the template for loyal fans. No one got that wind and fan reference. I know, did he? I know. She capitalized the wind, folks. Wind and fire. Yeah. I got to agree that I would arguably say, there we go. See, Gary got you. We got you, Deeds. I would agree with the Grateful Dead. I would agree very much so that people would give up their lives and follow the band for all 60 tour dates of its season. That's intense. That's intense for an entire caravan of people to follow a group around. You know, and we're not just talking about like groupie girls or in a couple of buses. We're talking about like caravans, like just convoys of caravans, right? That's yeah. That's different, you know. Another one that I don't know that anybody's referenced is Jimmy Buffett. You would be amazed how many people go to see Jimmy Buffett. You would be amazed how loyal fans are to go and see Jimmy Buffett do relatively the same show that he's been doing for 35 years. And Jimmy Buffett's got new records. Yeah, no one else knows. No one else knows. What's the Jimmy Buffett song that everybody knows? If anybody types something other than Margaritaville that they didn't look up, I'm gonna fall out of my chair. But yeah, Jimmy Buffett's people are bonkers. And then Queen, you gotta be a hardcore Queen fan to follow around not Queen on tour. Because I'm sorry, Queen without the 2 of the 4 members isn't Queen. It's just not Queen, especially if you get some of these bozos that they've got to sing in front of the band. Because they've got some really turd performers to replace Freddie Mercury. That's just cashing in on money. I'm a big fan of Queen. I absolutely love Freddie Mercury stuff, but there's no single part of me that would actually go and see Queen. And if you have and you really enjoyed it, that's great. But Queen fans are really serious fans if they're going to follow Queen on tour when it's there's no Freddie Mercury and I'm so sorry, the bass player's name is escaping me too now. Because talk about a key part of the band missing. It's one thing to replace a singer, like Journey has had 2 different guys singing for in place of Steve Perry for years, like decades. And Styx does the same thing. They've got Larry Gowan from Canada, known as Gowan in Canada. It's no Dennis DeYoung, right? Although he is a piano player as well. So I mean, there's a lot of things, but it's still, why can't rather than tour the old stuff, which is of course what all these guys want to do. And then you got weird things like Supertramp is broken up in 2 different things, right? Roger's off doing his own thing. That's the guy with the higher voice in Supertramp. And then, I forgot his name. So unfair. The guy with the lower voice of the 2 principal singers, they both play piano. Roger just plays guitar as well. He's touring as Supertramp with the rest of the guys. So, Yvonne says it's all about the music. It's all about the music is how I feel about the Doors. That's how I feel about the Doors. Because the Doors, Robbie, Ray, and the drummer, John, those 3 are phenomenal musicians. And you can have lots of people in there. The only other Jimmy Buffett song I know of is Cheeseburger in Paradise. Yeah, but Cheeseburger in Paradise was never the hit, like the big massive hit, right? It's all about wasting away in Margaritaville, but he's been performing for 35 years off of that. So buffets. Gonna go down to Florida and catch a buffet. What's that? It's a Jimmy Buffett tour. Anyways. Okay, so one page. We've got a few to choose from. If anybody has new one-page suggestions, please throw them in. Thanks for the question, Jim. That was a lot of fun. But Jimmy Buffett should cover One by Metallica. If anybody has a chance, this is a little outdated, but Pat Boone. Pat Boone put out an album of covers, and the songs he covers on this are insane. But if you get a chance to check out Pat Boone's cover album, speaking of something like Jimmy Buffett covering Metallica, Pat Boone. Yep, good stuff. Even Metallica had a cover album, right? A lot of people forget that. Boonies. I like that Dee Dee types my laugh just as about to kick it out. There you go. Hurt sung by Johnny Cash. 9 Inch Nails song. It's so crazy. It's a crazy world we live in. A little outdated. Now that is generous. Well, okay, but I saw an interview on television while I was in Toronto of what is old music to you? And after the third person had said the 80s or 90s, I turned it off. Yeah, that was a sad one. I can't talk. I listen to things like the Ink Spots. So, there's a deep dive if you want to, check Christopher on that one. That's an old. I got one of my favorite albums is Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music by Ray Charles. It's not modern. Anyways. Okay. Yeah. I try right now. I'm at that point And because I try to appreciate other people's creativity, right now I am trying to appreciate contemporary music. I'm looking for things to appreciate it in its own merit, and I'm trying. I really am. The Righteous Brothers. Oh, there you go. There's another one. I the band when I was a teenager, and we used to sing "You've Lost That Love and Feeling," but we'd always switch it for other things that you'd lost. Just saying. Uh, test a text message at sweet but autocorrects leading to a divorce or murder. Cuddly. Dee Dee, I sent you an email today talking about your lemur sticker. I don't know if you got that yet, but check it out. Who's Got Two Thumbs guy in the thumbless world is now done. Chicken. Anyone in the national holidays had to be celebrated twice a year, 6 months apart. Which one would you want it to be? That is an idea prompt from Dee Dee Stream. Sushi Submarine Lemur is an idea prompt from Dee Dee Stream. Those are addresses. You don't get to see those. Chris gave me jockey on the horse, action to the left, head is light brown, jockey leaning on the neck. Midnight Diner, my contribution to an idea from Riri. Snowflake with hands on every arm. Somebody suggested me while I was in Toronto the palindrome of Do Geese See God? Write it down. Look at it backwards. Oh, you answered already, Dee Dee. Okay, thank you. I want a cover album of Andy Williams. Yeah, but if it's a cover album of a lot of like groups today, you know it's going to be stuff like Taylor Swift and the Foo Fighters. Do we really need the covers of Andy Williams like that? A lot of this generation has already taken a dump on a great deal of other songs. So, all right. So that's. Oh, that reminds me. I got to replenish my wallet with business cards. Sorry, just notes in the thing. All right. So, on top of a scribble that I was doing on the train, I was talking to a few people in Toronto about these three shapes. If anybody's watching doesn't know what I'm talking about with these three magical shapes, let me know, and I will talk to you about them too. These three shapes. Okay. Greetings, Clearwater Revival. Yes. That's a hard one to cover, though, right? That would be a hard, without it being, I don't know. Because CCR is such a, I love CCR. One of the things, if you get a chance, if you just have only ever listened to CCR's greatest hits, if you've only ever heard CCR as the best of on the radio, do yourself a favor and sit down to an actual album. Because the difference between an album and just their hits is incredible. It's incredible. Like if you like CCR, listen to full albums. Because there was something more going on with CCR than just what you think of them as, if that's all you know. There was a far deeper well there, and so I'm not saying their albums are themed, but there's this continuity that goes through the album that carries you along. It's not entirely dissimilar from how Pink Floyd's albums work together. And I'm not specifically talking about The Wall or Dark Side of the Moon, that one song bleeds into the next, but I'm talking about how songs move and interconnect to the next song playing. CCR is phenomenal for that. And that's my CCR moment. It's not just for the initials, kids. Anyways, CCR is awesome, TD says. I'm really enjoying that guy, Led Zeppelin. Oh, I know. Wasn't he a member of Greta Van Fleet? Bring me the heads of Greta Van Fleet. Yeah. I'm a huge, my teenage bands when I was a kid, Led Zeppelin and Yes. Those are my two teenage, I'm a big fan of rock and roll moment. Fortunate Son is easily one of the best songs written. It's a great one. It's a great one. Who'll Stop the Rain is incredibly powerful tune. If you especially if you get to hear the full song off the album, because you're listening to the rain for a while. How weird would that have been in the day to have put that vinyl on and realize that that song is so much longer just because it's raining? You know, mind blowing. Rachel heard them live. They are fantastic. That's fantastic. That is fantastic indeed. They were great in concert. Oh, you got to see them too. Yeah, that would have been a cool show. Even Fogerty, just phenomenal. Okay, Midtown Diner. My contribution to an idea. I don't know if I've done one for Dee Dee yet, but or Riri yet. I'm so sorry. I was reading another thing and looking at this thing. Midtown Diner. And then the second thing that Riri said to that was, that's my contribution to an idea, but I want to push myself a little bit farther and try to fit that into the page, right? Because Midtown Diner, wide open. But my contribution to an idea as dialogue to fit in there is just forcing me in some additional capacity to try to take it just a little step further. What do we got? CCR, Born in a Bayou. Incredible song. Absolutely incredible. Run Through the Jungle. There you go. Fortunate Son. Yes, indeed. All great songs. Yep. Even Rachel says all great. Yeah. Born in a Bayou, Run Through the Jungle. There's a real ability in their music to just you know what I mean? Like, it just sort of, you don't even realize that as it builds up, and the drum builds up and the rhythm builds up, that suddenly you're just pulled. You're sort of just pulled right into the composition. And that's the way it's done, folks. It's a good way for it to be done. Hey, here's something fun. I picked up this eraser in Toronto. It's a Sharpner. It's the first time I've ever owned an eraser that had a shield for it, to protect it from eraser damage, which is what I think that Jim should call his next band. All right, so Midtown Diner is what I'm going with here. I've got this page where I've used a stencil and I put down a bunch of stars. Why? Because I'm complicated. So I thought that I'll just draw on top of this. If all you guys are okay with that. I'm pulling up some pictures of Toronto to throw in some jazz here. I took a whole bunch of photos of Toronto, and I showed a little bit of a slideshow on the last. Maybe I still have it on. Nope, maybe I took it off. Yeah, I think I took it off. So, what the slideshow was a bunch of the things that my brain looks at when I'm walking around. That's what. Find something to draw with. What say you? Yeah, CCR is another one of those really great ones. Really, truly great. What are we going to draw with? What are we doing? We use this big bozo. Let's do some crayon in there. Hey, you know what? I'll use the wax pencils. All right, we're cooking with the gasoline. There's a new singer that I really enjoy, and if you're a fan of old R&B and trying to bridge that connection to contemporary hip-hop R&B music, check out Anderson .Paak, P-A-A-K. He's got some lyrics there that at times will make you go, oh my, but at other times there's just something to what he does that has a really clear, unique identity that he's very obviously raised up on the music of his youth. And so I really enjoy his work, and his band is very tight and very creative. There's a video of them performing in a bookstore, Anderson .Paak, and they're phenomenal. Tight little group. But the principal guy is Anderson .Paak, and he's a drummer. The singer is the drummer. So, you know, gotta love that. Yeah, you got to appreciate people that are doing their thing. So, Janet's not here, so I'm not using a ruler. What's the name of our diner? Suggestions, please, if anybody's got one for me. We're at around an hour in. So here's the trick that I've just set myself up with, is that the stenciled on stars are in pink pencil, which means any marks that I'm putting on top, if I erase my marks, I'm erasing the stars. So you know what that means. No room for error, Chris. It had better be absolutely perfect. Dewdrop Inn? Dewdrop Inn? Name for Midtown Diner? All right, that's it. See it? Right there. I've already done it. Tried to just start incorporating Dewdrop into the signage. As I was writing diner, I changed it to drop. So, curious to hear what people are working on. It's only been a couple of days, but when you're really hectic and doing a whole bunch of things, it feels like much longer. So, I'm curious just to hear what people have been up to. Hi, baby. Would you guys like to meet my other cat? She has not been on the stream before. Come here. Come on. This is my cat, baby. She is 14, and she is. Say hi. There you go. All right. Was that exciting? Yeah, I'm going to do Dewdrop Diner. So. Anyways, that was baby. I had her since I could hold her in the palm of my hand. Broken Social Cinemetric, good Toronto bands. Yeah, I've seen both of those bands. And You Forget It in People is an amazing album. It's an amazing album. But that band has somewhere in the shape of 14 members. Just because it's a bunch of Toronto musicians that all get together and want to play music together as well. And so all these different members of different groups, soloists, like the singer Feist, she's a singer with that band. She's quite successful on her own. She's from that area and comes back to, because she lives in France, I believe now. So she comes back to play with Social Scene too. And, yeah, one of the guys was in that "If You Steal My Sunshine." If you want a really weird deep dive on that band, Do Whatever I Want to. It's a bad idea to give me permission to do whatever I want to, just in general. Just, you know. Pam, is Paul here? All right, do. So, and the sign, I'm cutting out these shapes in the sign that goes around. And so the idea would be that there would be little dropping, fluorescent outlines that beep, boop, beep, boop, as it's shining. So, you really want, do not put baby in the corner. No, I put her on the floor. Do not put baby on the floor. I love the Tubes and Wet Willie. Oh my gosh, that's a while ago. The Tubes appeared on SCTV. they did a song about sushi. They were on Celebrity Blow Up. And it's just two knuckleheads, your typical, what are you guys doing there? They had Tubes on as a guest, and the whole point of any guest that would show up on their show is they want them to blow up. They want them to spontaneously combust. And so they were inviting the band to play a song and then spontaneously combust, and it was the Tubes. Judy is asking if she's being bossy. No. I tell you, who are we kidding? It's me. All right, so there's the do drop, and then I'm going to fit Diner in here. Which means I'm probably going to end up extending this building. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to be fine. Yeah, so if people got projects they're working on, stuff that's coming out, let us know. It's always important to promote what you're doing. You're not existing in a vacuum. So, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. There you go. There you go. The Tubes. One of the things that they would do is in their live shows, they would be wearing bodysuits, flesh-colored bodysuits, and they would have their faces airbrushed on their torsos. Yep, it worked for them. Wet Willie's biggest hit was Street Corner Serenade. That's right. That's right. It's funny, you forget like that. You know the song, but you don't know the performer, right? It's like Trooper. Trooper from London, Ontario. What did Trooper sing? Ask that of the average Londoner, and unless they're of a certain age, they couldn't tell you. All right, so there's our Dewdrop Diner sign going across the front of our building. And we're just going to get in some of the basic shapes of the building, throw those down. Really? Oh, yeah, really. It's a tragedy. Because when I was growing up, Trooper was in rotation then, but at the same time, I don't fit in that category of too young and dumb to know, right? Like there's London's a weird place for that. We are not good at celebrating Canadiana. The Junos took place here at the London Gardens, and the tickets for people from outside of London were probably more than the ticket sales for people inside London. I think you would think that a lot of London would have attended that. I wanted to buy tickets for it to take my wife, because Corey Hart, Dreamboat. I don't know if any Americans know who Corey Hart was. But my wife really enjoyed Corey Hart. 1980s Corey Hart. It was his big moment, his big time in the sun with the hits, but he's still performing now. All right, so drawing our diner in here, bad perspective. It's all right. We'll figure it out. And making a cardboard. Oh, I never saw them live, but yeah, I did see Wet Willie. They were excellent. Excellent. There was a band I liked years ago called Thundermug. Yeah, they were great. And I was surprised that I was talking with somebody recently and they had no idea who Thundermug were. I'm like, Thundermug? What? Yeah. So it's funny. I don't know how big the Tragically Hip. I don't know. Okay, we got the guys from California, Arizona that popped in today. Thundermug. Maybe, probably not. You don't know. But the Tragically Hip? Do you guys know the Tragically Hip? I mean, I know that you're probably aware of the Bare Naked Ladies, which when they appeared at first in Toronto, they weren't getting gigs because of the name of their band. Reaver says Canadian music's really great. It really is, but there's definitely a Canadian identity to music. There's a fun thing about Canadian videos is that a lot of times the band members are going all the time, whatever they're playing, and they're always bopping with the music. It's the funniest thing. Cowboy Junkies. Oh yeah? Oh my. That's a great band. That's a family. It's the Cowboy Junkies was Margot Timmons, the lead singer, is the little sister of, I think, 2 of the other members in that band. Their big hit was Velvet Underground song, and that was my number 3 for my big 3 bands from when I was a teenager was Led Zeppelin, Yes, and the Velvet Underground. Weird rock and roll taste. Put some steps on the front of this diner. So there's our Dewdrop Diner, Midtown Diner. So what I'm planning here is to do, shots of the city street and people moving about in front of the diner. But my opening shot will be, I'm going to do a city shot and then the diner shot, and I'm going to kick right into a conversation between 2 people looking across at each other. And the intention is to fit in my contribution to an idea. So like I say, usually when I'm doing a page, I don't have a preconceived intention when I pick an idea randomly out of the book. But it's sort of, once you start working on that first panel, those things come together. And so what's coming together for me here is that it's all about this term. It's all about my contribution to an idea. So it sort of lends to have the page here be about 2 people putting together a pitch or putting together something that they got to present, some kind of presentation. And the one person's contributions are ridiculous. That's where my brain goes with this. I'm not entirely sure where other people's brain goes with this, but that's what mine's doing, and that's part of the fun, I think, is in putting together a page, is that you don't necessarily have to sit down having the whole thing worked out. Sometimes there's some benefit to you creatively to allow yourself to just see what you can figure out, like to just sit down and see what you can put together by just going with the flow of it, right? So like I said, this is kind of rough and the perspective's a little, but I've set myself up by having the penciled stars that I doodled on this paper that I've randomly decided to draw on top of already there. So anyways, I'm going to get this center panel laid in, and then I'm going to, we're at 113, and let's get this panel going a little bit more. Josh has said, I'm waiting for my man. Yeah, that's a great one. Perspective is perspective is a CR thing. Yeah, definitely is. Yeah, it's there. You get it. Fill it in with your own brain. Yeah. Waiting for My Man is a really lovely song about a drug dealer. A lot of Velvet Underground songs about drugs. I'm just saying. $56 in my hand. So the other thing I want to do is I want to populate the image by putting people walking past the place. So I may well fill all of that in first before I start getting into the background of it, right? Right, Chris, that sounds great. I'm glad you like that, Dimmy. I got Velvet Underground in my head. There's a fun song that was done by Velvet Underground, but it's read by J.J. Cale, and it's about this character named Walter Jefferson, and it's J.J. Cale of the Velvet Underground. He played the electric viola, and there's this song. It's largely just this instrumental jam piece, and so if you like that kind of music, but it's about this young man, Waldo Jefferson, really smitten and excited with this girl that he dated over the summer break, or dated at school or something like that, and now they've both been apart for summer break, but he misses her so much he mails himself to her. That's what the song's about. But the dialogue in it is so fantastically fun. Oh my god, going out last night and hanging out with those guys was terrible. Yeah, they were all hands. Like, it's just the way that they're talking is fantastic. Really, if all the patrons walk past the diner, oh, that'd be great, but you guys would all need to give me pictures of yourself. And see, I'd have to organize that in advance rather than just impulsively. I'd have to have your photos on file for everybody. Yvonne just dropped a Moody Blues reference. Oh, snap! The album that's off of, the album that Nights in White Satin is off of, is really similar to how I described listening to CCR albums. That album is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. Heroine, however, was about a lead actress. Yes, it was. Yes, indeedly, it was. A lot of tragedy in their music. There's Lou Reed had a real propensity for writing tragedy. He has a song, "They're taking her children away because of the fact she was not a good mother." Why are you writing this? And then Dirty Boulevard is one of Lou Reed's solo hits. I like the song sung by the Maureen Tucker, the drummer from the Velvet Underground. A drummer, by the way, who didn't necessarily play with cymbals. They liked the beating rhythmic sound. She'd play with her drums sitting on the floor and just hammer them like this, rather than playing on a traditional drum kit. There's how many more ridiculous bits of trivial nonsense does Chris have in his head? All right, so I'm going to have a little bit of fun for a moment here. Oh boy, here we go. What's he going to do now? Just a little watercolor. Just having a little bit of fun in here. I had initially considered stenciling this panel area off, but let's be honest, I don't care about, carry over to other panels. Because I'll just incorporate it in anyways. Because it's how I roll. That's why my friends call me Whiskers. Yeah, Velvet Underground was a weird band that I enjoyed, that my friends were like, what? Yeah, there's a lot of really, just so many great Velvet Underground songs that I can't even actually pick any good one specifically out. Like you sort of, when you love whole albums, it gets weird like that. And I'm Waiting for My Man stuck in my head this entire time. That and Can I Have Your Autograph? He said to the fat young actress. See, that's what I mean by Lou Reed lyrics. There's always some kind of blunt, oh, the world is full of suffrage kind of a thing in there. So I'm going with this sort of, the red is called, well, it's a crimson anyway, so I can't, I've got paint on top of the other part of the description, but I'm using this crimson paint really lightly as a watercolor and throwing this down to just throw down some shapes. It's just to start to give it a little bit of depth to it. But what am I missing? Oh, nothing. Okay, we're good. I like Van Morrison a lot. Moondance is possibly one of the best albums of all time. If you get a chance to watch The Last Waltz, a live concert performed by the band, Van Morrison's appearance on The Last Waltz is pure energetic comedy. It's just oh, your dad was horrified, was he? Could have been worse. You could have played Fairy Tale in New York by the Pogues. Oh my gosh, that's funny. At least it's a pretty song. It could have been far worse. I always like White Light, White Heat as well, by the way. That's a great being Velvet Underground. White Light, White Heat. Yeah, if you know Fairy Tale in New York, you get that ridiculous reference that I just made there. I should apologize for that. No, I'm not going to use this guy. So some of the things I haven't not even approached using yet is I got some pastel pencils of a burnt umber and a white, and that's all. Just because. Just to stick in there. I picked up one of these recently. I've been using this little guy. It's some fun in the sun, just to throw these random values on things. I'm enjoying that. I'm trying to let this draw for a second there. Desperately hoping that anybody from outside of Canada is familiar with Leonard Cohen's Dance Me to the End of Love. Dance me very slowly. Yeah, anyways. That Leonard Cohen has one of the best lines in music, where he says, "This place is dead like heaven on a Saturday night." It's from a song, Closing Time. Closing Time. Yeah. Leonard Cohen. Huh? There's a singer to listen to if you want to go deep into your thoughts. Yeah. He wrote Hallelujah, for those that don't know. All right, turning on the fan for a second, just because I'm tired of waiting. Although I still stand by that the best version of Hallelujah is still a toss-up for me, whether it's Jeff Buckley or Rufus Wainwright. Yvonne says he was an alumni of my high school. Oh my. There you go. That's so where'd you go to school? The same place that Leonard Cohen did? You're not saying it like that. I'm just being silly. But I went to the same school as Leonard Cohen. Not at the same time, but I'm still kind of a big deal. Yeah? Well, who went to the school you went to, Chris? The model in London who was Miss Universe in 1983. I don't know that she was Miss Universe in 1983. There's no claim to fame in that school I went to. None that I know of, anyways. Oh wait, no, Tommy Hunter. Tommy Hunter went to the one school I went to. Yeah, Tommy Hunter went here. Who? Yeah, that's a sad thing when that happens. Tommy Hunter. What's it gonna do? I got a gray. I got a red. Got the wrong red. Now I've got Dance Me to the End of Love stuck in my head. I like lyrics. I used to look for lyrics that had religious references that weren't necessarily religious. Like Tom Waits says, "How do the angels get to sleep when the devil leaves his porch light on?" You know. So, so the idea with the red that I'm putting down here is this is the neon that would flash, right? As one walks by the diner, it's the fluorescent tubes that would be all lit up. I don't know if anybody here has ever had the chance to look at an old neon sign, an old business sign that had fluorescent tubing going through it, neon tubing going through it. But look at those things when they're not lit up. If you get a chance to see any of those old signs, check them out, because it's really cool how because they would create the whole sign. They would have the opaque shapes cut out for where the letters would be, but then when they did the neon over top of it, and they would drill holes through it in the most contrived places, because it was all about just fitting the tubing through for the signage. But oftentimes they don't correlate. Like the letters will be doing this, but the neon tubing goes across it. Like it's just this. If you get a chance, look some of those up, because there's some pretty fantastic weirdness to those, and the kind of thing that you don't see anymore. Like there's such a different approach to promotional design and for logo design and businesses and stuff like that now. All of those have been removed, of course, from city streets. The only real chance you're going to get to see them still in use is in smaller cities or small towns. But if you get a chance, stop and study one for a second. You won't be disappointed. Yeah, you say that now, Chris. Yeah. Favorite song of Leonard Cohen, Dance at the End of Time, especially when we played the video. Video's good. Closing time for me. All the way. Closing time, 100%. Closing time. All about the backup singers. So I'm just cutting out the outline of the diner, pulling it out of the spatter that I put across here. Do I have handy? Yep, I got one. I just want to do something with. Are you working? Hey, buddy, get to work. The dewdrops. I'll tighten this up in a second, because right now it's just overlapping images, but we'll get there in a second. Leonard Cohen is just as much, if not more, known for covers of his music than for his own performances. Now, not to say that he's not known for his own performances, and not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that some of the people that have covered his songs, major hits. It's like Tom Waits, right? People listen to Tom Waits and go, oh my Lord, right? But then when you listen to Old 55 covered by Sarah McLachlan or the Eagles or Berlin is a Lou Reed song covered by Warren, I think, Leslie Warren. Then we take Berlin, right? It's funny, the hits that other people have are far bigger with the songs than the original songwriters. Prince is notorious for writing songs for other people that are huge that you wouldn't realize are Prince songs. There's a lot of talented songwriters out there. Yeah, So one of the things I like doing is working with that positive negative, and I highly recommend people try that out. Oh my, Rachel has sent the Runciman to me. Is that what we're settling on? That's what Runcimanians? Oh my. So I'm just going to cut into the letters with some white to try to pull a little more emphasis for them out of there. So here's how the diner is coming, the Dewdrop Diner. And so even though the page is all laid out with all of these star shapes and such in the background, I'm just sort of letting that go and drawing the image flat on top. And then it sort of affords me the availability, if I want, to just randomly outline some of those pieces of the star shape. And you're like, well, why is that line there? What is that? Is that a shadow or whatever it is? It doesn't matter, right? It's just sort of little emphasis points or little interesting tiddly bits that carry the eye of the reader around, and hopefully keeps them interested in what we're doing. Okay, so I asked earlier, and I don't know if anybody's got anything they want to tell everybody else about they got coming up. But again, feel free to do so. We're all friends here. No one's going to judge you. All right, so now I'm going to play with a little bit of some other colors in here, because I don't want to just do this, in largely just a singular color approach. I want to come in here and throw some different soft value stuff in there. Continuing with the alphabetary. That's for those that aren't aware, what Rachel is doing is basically what the monks did in the Middle Ages, which is A is for apple, B is for boy, and those sort of things that you might remember from primary school are what they used to keep the population, the masses, to have some degree of education. There's always been this ridiculous supposition by the more Victorian era archaeologists that during the Middle Ages, no one had any education at all, except for purely the monk class. And we know that's not true. We know that now because, largely archaeology has let go of a lot of the biases that were held on during that period of time. Like white people settled India and that sort of thing. The world was originally settled by an Aryan race. You see how I got people in trouble? So they used alphabetaries to keep people informed and educated about the language. They did it in France with the French language. They did it in England with the English language. So get a little bit more going on this. What are we at? 1:35. A couple more minutes here. Why not? If anybody gets a chance, Rachel, where can they find your alphabetary stuff posted? Rachel's going to try to post that on her social media sites. Have you been able to do so? And how can people get a look at it? Dee Dee worked on some collage this morning. If anybody wants to go and check that out on her social media. Riri, what have you got going on right now? You can tell people to go and look at. Facebook. Rachel is posting those on Facebook, folks. Go and take a peek. Peek-a-rooney. So I'm using this light blue because a lot of these old diner buildings located in cities were largely silver construction buildings. And so I'm going to try to push a little bit of that out of here. Get a little bit of that emphasis coming out. So good food. Good. Admitting to being an Instagram failure. One platform to another platform is not easy. It's simply not easy. Other people have a larger affinity for, figuring out how some of the differences are in the platforms. And some of us, myself included, do not. There are things that I have tried to get sorted out to get more implementation in place for me to, show my work. Like, what's it called? Webtoons. Yep. Webtoons is a nightmare. If you're not fluent in how to adjust your size and scale of all your things and how many pixels and et cetera, that, many of us will take for granted or say, yeah, just do this, Chris. Ooh, right? It doesn't come as easily as some. All right, so we got to start for the Dewdrop Diner. I'll hold that up. Try to hold it still for you. I'm going to turn it this way. There you go. So there's our start for the Dewdrop Diner. Now the buildings in the background are glass structures, glass and concrete, and so we'll get some of that built up and developed. But before I go too much farther with how I'm drawing the buildings and so on and so forth, I'm going to have put a bunch of people walking back and forth in front of the building on the street here. And then I'm going to go cut back and do a shot of the city itself here. And then the next panel here would be, so what are you saying? And trying out that dialogue. But the one thing I'm going to try to definitely fit in, Riri, is my contribution to an idea. And I get to have that be part of the dialogue between our two characters, because their contribution could be crazy. Or it could be brilliant. I don't know if it's brilliant or if it's insane. Yeah. So we're going to have fun with that. In the meantime, I think I might get jumping at the moment, because I want to get a couple things done today. And I have not got to any of them yet. I will have this posted for tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I look forward to it. I'm glad to be back in routine. I was really glad to be able to get away and to go to the art supply store. If you get a chance, there's a I did a live video on that, talk about stuff I picked up, talk about walking around Toronto. I did a thing on Saturday, which is sort of an update about being back home and reflecting on the differences of where I am in comparison to where I've been physically for the last few days, and talking about when you look at the structure and buildings and things like that around you, how it just makes your brain take leaps. So if you get a chance, check those out. Those were a lot of fun. But it feels like I've been away for a long time. It's only been a couple days. But let's get cracking. If anybody's got one-page ideas, you know where to send them. Let's go. Challenge your friends. Let's have some fun. If there's one-page ideas that you see me doing that you think, I want to try that, do it. I love to see them. I really would. It's exciting to me when different people have different interpretations of the same thing. Just like how we were talking today about songs being covered, written by some of these really great songwriters. It'd be interesting to see a modern, take by the right groups on CCR and things like that. Wouldn't that be compelling? As long as it's not Taylor Swift or Foo Fighters. What do you hate about the Foo Fighters, Chris? Yeah. All right. That's it for me. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. It's been wonderful. Thank you to everybody that stopped in and shared. Please check out any of the other names that you saw in the stream chat today. They're all very well talented individuals, and definitely worth taking a look at what they're doing. In the meantime, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.